Hey everyone, it's the Guy Guru. This is going to be a deck profile on the Magical Explosion FTK I was running you guys saw. Basically, I'm going to go through it with you guys and show you what I'm running and let you guys net deck it. First three cards, Magical Library. It's the heart of the deck. You need this card first turn to win. If you don't get it first turn, you pretty much lose. I mean, I guess you still can win, but it's very hard because they can warning and everything else after that. So, you know, this is the heart of the cards for this deck, so you need 3 of this. Then you need 2 Summoner Monk. If you don't get the Magical Library, you need to have access to it. And with all the spell cards in this deck, Summoner Monk gives you that option. It also allows you to pitch dead cards in your hand, such as extra Bamboo Swords, Toon World, whatever have you, to get to that, to your Royal Magical Library without losing any advantage. So Summoner Monk is a definite, must. Like, you just gotta have it. Next is Thunder Dragon. He not only thins your deck for you, but he also gives you discard fodder in your hand for Dark World Dealing, hand destruction, stuff like that. So great in any FTK-OTK because he just thins your deck for you. You have to have him. Magical City of Emioin is amazing in this deck because it places spell counter on itself when effects are activated, and then you can remove spell counters off of it to use another card's effect. Now, do keep in mind you can only use this card's effect once per turn, so you can use it to draw off of a library, but only once per turn per copy. That's why it runs 3 copies. If it was just period, then people would just run fucking like 1 of it and just infinite draw, but unfortunately Konami thought of that when they made it. Plus Breaker. Ooh, oh my god. Breaker. No, bad. Toon Table of Contents, it searches itself and just adds counters like a bitch. Like, it thins your decks and adds counters. 1 counter, 2 counter, 3 counter, and then if you need, you can activate the Toon World for the 4th counter. Now, a lot of people run like Toon Cannon Soldier, and then they'll run a Lure because you got Cannon Soldier and 2 more Darks up here. But honestly, I like Toon World better because it gives me more options to discard it with Summoner Monk or to play it and get more spell counters in a bad situation. So Toon World is much better in my opinion. Oh, you pay 1,000 life points. Who gives a shit? The life points don't matter in this deck. 3 Upstart. Just draw a card for free. That's all it is. It doesn't even matter they gain life points. You're going to do more than that anyway. Broken Bamboo Sword. It's just there for Golden Bamboo Sword. Amazing broken draw engine. It's a freaking pot of greed. And again, like, the Golden Bamboo Sword, or the Broken Bamboo Swords, can be played to give you spell counters, but they can also be pitched with, like, Summoner Monk, or with, Dark World Dealings, or whatever. So they're very versatile cards, but you just need 1 of them. So once you get access to your Golden Bamboos, you can start doing some broken shit. Dark World Dealings, draw a card, discard a card. Now, a lot of people have a problem with, like, what if you verse Dark World? What if they discard gold and target, him? And I'm like, well, that's true. Or they discard Graph and they target him. That's true. But at the same time, it's the same thing as what if they have Valor? Fuck me. I mean, honestly. So, 2 hand destruction. A lot of people use 3 hand destruction and card destruction. I don't like hand destruction because you have to discard 2 cards. I don't always have 2 cards available in my hand that are easily pitchable. Most of my cards I want to keep and use. So hand destruction I only run 2 of, and I do not run card destruction because honestly you have to discard your entire hand and then draw that number, and late game you can't do that usually. And also you have to discard your entire hand, so if you draw into these, you'd have to set them first, but then you can't even play your heavy. Like, you play heavy at the end of all your crap, so that you have all your spell cards in the graveyard, your Broken Bamboo, your Emioin, your Toon World, all that in the graveyard for more damage. Like, you have to have the heavy. So, I do not play card destruction, I play Heavy Storm instead, and I do not play 3 hand destruction, I only play 2. 3 is overkill. 3 Into the Void, because that sets you up so nicely. For Magical Explosion, you have to have no cards in hand, so Into the Void just says, at the end phase, no hand! You have to have 3 or more cards in your hand to activate. Always remember that. A lot of people will play their hand down to like 2 cards and activate Into the Void. You can't do that. You have to have 3 or more to activate. Now, also understand, this counts in the hand, so if you have 2 other cards and it, you can activate it, because that's 3, because that's when you activate it. So also remember that, because I had a person try and say, you can't do that. It's just like, yes, you can. But anyways, one Power Duality. Now, you can only play one per turn, so you really don't want to play any more of that. Plus, I only play one because if you do end up having to use Summoner Monk's ability, you can't even play Pot of Duality. So, it's... I don't usually use Summoner Monk. Like, usually you just go normal summon, Librarian, and FTK. So, usually Pot of Duality is a live card, but sometimes, because you have to use Summoner Monk, Pot of Duality will be dead. So, remember that. Be careful. Momentary Truce, just draw a card. I mean, broken. It's like an upstart, but even dumber. I mean, really. Blasting the Ruins. Now, when this got limited to one, everyone's like, oh, the deck is dead, the deck is dead. You can just substitute 2 Blasting the Ruins for Magical Explosion, and it's fucking game over anyway. Now, Magical Explosion does 200 points of damage for each spell in the grave. That's 5,800. Now we know why I get limited. But these say as long as you have 30 or more cards in your graveyard, you do 3,000. Which is easy for this deck, because in the end, you've got like 30 cards, or let's see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, it's 36, something like that. Because everything but these 3 and this card, and maybe this card. So at max, you'll have 5 cards left on your field. So 35 guaranteed. So this, you can always use this. And this together is 11,800 damage, which they are at 11,000 because you use 3 upstart. Ironic, huh? Now, the reason I use this deck instead of Exodia FTK, which I'm going to build, and play and show you why I don't like it. The reason I use this instead of Exodia FTK is Exodia FTK is dumb because you constantly draw. You have 5 pieces of Exodia that if you draw it, you can't do anything with it. You can't hand destruction it. You can't card destruction it. You can't allure it. I mean, I've seen people who try and use like hand destruction and then the card that brings normal monsters back to their hand. But I don't like that because then the dark factory of mass production just kind of stalls and kills and it's just you have too many inconsistent cards. With this entire deck, all the deck is dedicated to this one card. You have 3 cards that are not playable pretty much until you're done. But the entire deck revolves around this card and it just and just plays like a mofo like you saw. Now this is an FTK deck, and with any FTK decks, you might encounter bad hands or shit like that. I mean, that just happens. In the 5 duels I did, I record 4 of them. In the 5 duels I did, the first one I didn't record because I was just testing with it. The first one I did, I opened kind of badly. I opened with double library, a Thunder Dragon, an Enmyoin, a Toon Table, and something else. And that was a really bad opening, and I still got the game. Like, I mean, I still won. I didn't record that one. I wish I had, but that was just the first time I was testing this deck. I still won that game, but I opened up pretty bad. I mean, that's a pretty bad hand. Like, if I can show you, go ahead and just drag him down here to show you what my hand looked like. Now this hand wasn't bad. Oh yeah, I think I into the void. That was my opening hand, and I'm just like, ew. I mean, that's not great. So I pitched the Thunder Dragon, grabbed 2 more. Activate normal summon the Royal Magical Library, activate that, activate, get some draws, so I got out of it, but you will encounter bad hands, and sometimes it will be so bad that you just can't win, unfortunately. But that is what an FTK is, it's very, I guess you say temperamental? I don't know how you would say that, but I mean, it can have bad hands. It's just how it is. Any deck can, technically. But anyway, so this is the deck I've been running. If you guys want to copy it, play test it, make it better, shit like that, have fun. I don't care. Go ahead and, if you think card destruction and hand destruction are the shit, run those. I'm not fucking running them. If you are going to run triple hand destruction and card destruction, I would recommend running Volcanic Shell because it gives you more outs, I guess, for discarding and then adding to your hand. But again, that's up to you guys. So this is Get Your Room, and I'll catch y'all later.